Alright, ya magnificent bastards! Gather round, because today we're diving into a crossover so insane it could only come from a brain marinated in whiskey and caffeine. Could the Sith Empire, the Sith, at the tippy top of their power, actually invade the 40k galaxy? Now I know what you're thinking. Mate, the Sith, with the red lightsabers and daddy issues, against the grimdark nightmare that is 40k? They get steamrolled faster than a guardsman's pension. But hold on, we're not talking about the same random Sith lords here. We're talking about the full might of Vitiate's empire. Fleets of Harrower-class dreadnoughts, millions of troops, the Dark Council of Lunatics, and an immortal emperor who once slurped up an entire planet like it was a Capri Sun. Now lads, before we dive in, remember to smash that like button like Malgus smashing through office furniture, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell like it's Vitiate ringing the dinner gong for another planet. So, let's dive in. So for those of you who do not know, or don't remember Palpatine screaming unlimited power before getting yeeted down a shaft, the Sith Empire at its peak wasn't just a bunch of edgy lightsaber lads, it was a galactic powerhouse. The Emperor Vitiate, also known as Tenebrae, and the Immortal Empire, and please stop eating planets, ya psycho. This guy wasn't just a Sith Lord. He was a Force demon who lived for thousands of years, and could puppet entire empires like sock puppets. His biggest flex was the ritual of Nathema, where he drained an entire world of life. Plants, animals, Force energy, millions of Sith, all gone. That's your Emperor, lads. Now the Dark Council. 12 walking weapons of mass destruction. Each of them ruled over different spheres. Defense, technology, ancient knowledge, all that jazz. You got Darth Maul, the stoic warlord who basically kept the entire empire together. Darth Malgus, the Chad who sat Coruscant. And Darth Nox, who canonically absorbed so many Sith ghosts, they became a walking, talking paranormal investigation. Militarily, fleets of Harrower-class dreadnoughts. Big angular bastards brimming with turbo lasers. Armies of loyal soldiers backed up by Sith shock troops. And the dreaded Imperial intelligence, one of the most terrifying spy networks in the galaxy's history. And their crowning achievement, the sack of Coruscant, where Malgus and pals stormed the Republic's capital, burned half of it to the ground, and forced the Republic to sign a humiliating treaty at their peak. The Sith Empire wasn't just strong, they were standing on the Republic's neck and laughing. Now lads, onto the nightmare they'll be invading. The 40k galaxy, the most miserable place in all of fiction. Almost. The Imperium of Man, picture the Galactic Empire, but if it had been run by Palpatine for 10,000 years straight, and the entire population was drunk on religious zealotry. A million worlds, all bowing to the God Emperor, who is technically a rotting corpse, wired into a space lighthouse. Fun times. Now the xeno threats, you've got the Orks, who make Sith look like toddlers with glow sticks, the Eldar, who are basically space elves, powered by cocaine and trauma, the Tyranids, the all-you-can-eat buffet swarm, and the Necrons, the angry metal skeletons, with galaxy-ending technology. Oh, and let's not forget, Chaos, the literal gods of hell, who feed on emotion and invade reality through the warp. Now the warp, mind you, is hyperspace, but on LSD, fueled with demons who wear your skin like it's a party hat. That's the reality the Sith fleet would be sailing through. The Sith aren't just facing an empire, they're walking into a galaxy where everything is designed to kill them. personally. So, how does this madness kick off? Well, picture it. Vitiate and the Dark Council are sitting down on Droman Cast, sipping brandy and scheming about who to betray next. When one of their hyperspace experiments goes predictably tits up. Because of course it does. The Sith can't just take a nap. They have to poke forbidden shit until reality bends. Boom! Most of the Sith Empire tears a hole through space and crashes into the 40k galaxy. At first, they're smug as hell. They think they've just stumbled into some forgotten backwater of wild space, ripe for the taking. Then, the sensors ping. An Imperial Navy patrol, complete with cruisers the size of bloody cities. The Sith, the cocky bastards that they are, assume it's a clean sweep. Now, the first clash is cinematic as hell. Sleek dreadnoughts glide in formation, turbo lasers spitting emerald death into the void. The Imperial macro cannons rotate back, hurling shells the size of buses that hammer against the Sith shields. Boarding pods smash into Imperial hulls, and disgorged red saber-wielding maniacs carve their way through corridors. The Imperials are baffled. These intruders look like humans, but wield magic like demons, and they've got glow sticks deadlier than a chainsword. The first battle, the Sith actually win. Barely, but they win. They cripple the patrol, seize a couple of ships, and immediately start flexing like they've just conquered terror. The word spreads fast. A new power has arrived in the galaxy, and they're already planting their banners on worlds along the sector they just gate crashed into. And here's the thing. The Sith, believe it or not, are not idiots. They don't just smash and run, they consolidate. The Imperial governors are subdued or conquered. Nobles desert to avoid the Inquisition's wrath, cut deals with Sith lords, promising protection and immortality. Psychers are pulled from the black ships and reshaped into acolytes of the dark side. Before the Imperiums even realized what is happening, the Sith have carved out a whole bloody sector, fortified it, industrialized it, and screaming in red and black banners. For a brief and terrifying moment, it looks like the Sith might actually make this galaxy their own. Now, lads, we're cooking with some gas. The Imperium is furious. Obviously, these new heretics are spreading faster than a Nurgle plague, and the Inquisition is absolutely losing their collective shit. Entire fleets are mobilized, but here's the problem. The Sith thrive in chaos. They infiltrate, corrupt, and sabotage governments. Regiments of Astrum Militarum desert mid-battle, with just a little Force help. Entire planets are lost, without ever firing a single shot. But the Imperium isn't some pushover like the Republic. This is an empire that has survived by purging itself daily. Once the Inquisition catches on, they don't hesitate. Exterminatus, baby! Whole damn worlds are burned, denying the Sith a foothold. Suddenly, it's a war of attrition. The Sith are dangerous, aye, but they've got nowhere near the numbers to keep up with the Imperium that can drown them in bodies and battleships. So here's where shit gets spicy. Vitiate is practically a chaos god without the branding. A dark sorcerer who feeds on death and fear, draining entire populations for a quick snack. The Chaos Gods aren't having it. Khorne demands his skull, Zinch thinks he's a discount knockoff. Nurgle would really love to spread a plague, and Slaanesh, well, Vitiate probably isn't flexible enough for whatever Slaanesh has in mind. The warp itself screws the Sith. Their hyperspace navigation doesn't line up with the Imperium. Without navigators, their fleets are basically wandering blind through an ocean of demons. Yes, some hyperspace routes they would be able to set up, but eventually they are going to have to step into the Imperium. And with every jump, it's Russian roulette, and the demons are loving it. Sure, the Sith sorcerers can hold their own against minor demonic incursions, but against a black crusade, they're just tomorrow's warp snack. The Orks are delighted. Oi! That Zog red glow stick gits is a proper scap. They'd steal lightsabers, duct take them to choppers, and suddenly you've got Ork war bosses wielding double-bladed lightsabers like some budget Darth Maul. The Eldar sense Vitiate and immediately shit themselves. To them, he's like a warp beacon, screaming danger, megalomaniac incoming. They'd probably launch a preemptive strike just to stop him, but good luck with that when he's draining your entire craft world. Tyranids, they don't give a toss about lightsabers or Sith philosophy. They just eat, and against an endless hunger, even the most disciplined Sith war machines will crack. The Necrons though, oh, they're loathing the Sith. Vitiate's obsessed with immortality is like waving a red flag at a Catan shard. The soulless robot legions would descend on the Sith purely out of spite, determined to prove their own mortality is superior. So, could the Sith actually invade the 40k galaxy? The answer is a messy one. They'd make a hell of an entrance. Aye, they'd carve out the sector, maybe stabilize it for a while. Their infiltration, sorcery, and sheer bloody brutality would make them a nightmare opponent. For a time, the Imperium would be scrambling, chaos would be cracking, and the xenos would be piling in for a fight. But long term, nah, the 40k galaxy doesn't tolerate small empires. The Imperium would eventually drown them in ships and soldiers. Chaos would drag their souls screaming into the warp, and the endless swarm of Orks, Tyranids, and Necrons would batter their territory until there was nothing left. At best, the Sith would become a small sector, much like the Tal. A corrupted sector that burned bright, but dimmed quickly in holy fire. But a sector nonetheless. At worst, they'd be another body for the warp. Vitiate would be howling alongside every other wannabe god who thought they could take on the 40k galaxy and win. So there ya have it. The Sith Empire actually managed to make a dent. A whole sector carved out, banners flying, Vitiate gorging himself on misery. Impressive. If you forgot what galaxy they wandered into. Because, let's be honest, in the 40k galaxy, that's just another Bloody Tuesday, lads. The Imperium shrugs, the Orks laugh, chaos sharpens its knife, and the galaxy grinds on like it always does. What do you think? Could the Sith hold on longer than I gave them credit for? Or would they get flattened by a bolter, a demon, and a trillion lads screaming, "Wah!" at the top of their lungs? Let me know in the comments. So, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for more absolute nonsense. And of course, as always lads, remember, don't poke a hole in reality unless you're ready to get skull fucked by corn. Have a killing day, you bloody legends, and I'll see ya in the next one.